Carrie Beck with How to Homeschool My Child, and I'm excited about today. The Olympics started this last weekend, and I'm like, this is the perfect time to have fun learning, because usually kids are, one, they get to watch TV or the computer, wherever you watch it, but they also get to actually learn some things, and they're interested in some of the sports more than others. So let's take advantage of their excitement and turn some of it into some learning activities. So if you are joining me here, why don't you leave a comment? I'll remind you through the video. Leave a comment telling us what's your favorite event in the Summer Olympics. It would be really interesting to hear what that is. But today what I want to do is talk to you and share some fun learning activities. So we're going to start with math. Here is math. Here's the first one. I didn't finish this, but it is if your kids are learning how to read graphs, especially when there's the vertical and the horizontal, and they have the, I don't know what they're called, the two little numbers that they can figure out. You can actually give them colors to color, and as they color, they would create the Olympic rings. You would have them number the sides and the bottom, and then it will come out. And I will give you, I've got some ideas on finishing this out to give you coordinates, that's what they're called. I will give you the coordinates that you could use to teach them. It's a fun art activity, plus it's a fun math activity to reinforce how to read a graph with your different coordinates. You can use coordinates that are numbers and numbers, or you could use them letters and numbers as well. Obviously, we still need the green and the red ring to go with it. So there's one. Another one would be the keeping count of the medals and looking at the variations and asking your kids questions. What percentage? I mean, you could do greater than and less than for first graders. You could do subtraction. How many more medals does the United States have than China? I'm just making this up. How many more gold medals do they have than silver medals? You could do percentage. If we look, and I'm going to just say the United States because that's where I'm from, even though I know not everyone is from there. When we come to the medals, we could say what percentage of the United States medals are gold or silver and bronze. And then you have to look at those numbers, and they better add up to 100, because that would be 100% of the medals. There's a lot of different things you can do with counting. It's not just counting. The other thing you could do is graph the amount of medals on any certain day. There's lots of things you can do, but there's a medal count. I actually have an Olympics activity guide for kids, and it has a printable in there that you can at least keep tally track of how many medals each day. It also, I believe, I linked it to the page with the official medal count. So that would be something. Another thing you could do is research. Ask your kids, who's the one Olympian you want to watch? Or who's your favorite Olympian? Maybe if they're a swimmer, maybe Michael Phelps, who's won more gold medals than anyone else. Let them go and read about these people and write one paragraph. Help them to learn a topic sentence, a clincher sentence, and 3 or 4 sentences of body in the middle. That would be another thing you could do. I think of Simone Biles and Katie Ledecky, as well as women athletes right now that a lot of the girls are interested in. Oh gosh, I watched the women's gymnastics team yesterday. Oh my goodness, there were some new girls I hadn't even heard of that were doing awesome. Anyway, that was fun to watch. You might watch them and then say, hey, let's go find something out about them. And if they're too young to write a paragraph, maybe you could just have them write down 3 sentences about that particular athlete. All right, let's talk about science. Static electricity flame. Here's how it works. Unfortunately, I don't have the number 1 ingredient. But basically, you're going to take some tissue paper and cut it out in colors that are flame colors. I guess I should have added red too. So we've got this. I just glued it on the back of the handle, and I've varied the colors, whatever you want to do. So here's how it works. You're going to lay it down on a table. Pretend this is my table. And so I'm going to set it down. Then you're going to blow up a balloon and let your kids rub it really hard so that it gets a lot of that static electricity. Then take your balloon and hold it over the flame and see if you can make the flames move. And move it around and see what you can do and see if you can get all the flames to move. Then talk about what static electricity is. So that would be a fun science experiment that has to do with the flame. Another science experiment I am going to demonstrate. It is the flame in a bottle. So I have a water bottle here. I filled it about 3/4 full of water. I'm sure you can get better. This one's all wrinkly. You may not be able to see it quite as well as I'd like. So we've got water. Actually, I'm going to pour a little bit more out. Okay, so we've got the water here. And then we have oil. I just put some cooking oil, and I used a clear cup so kids could see what it is. Then you need to pick some colors that you want your flame to be. These aren't the best flame colors, but I think this is a red and a purple. I didn't have a yellow. So all you're going to do is put a few drops in here. Well, hopefully you won't hit the side like I did. So there's one color, and then here's another color. You'll notice the food coloring does not dissolve. It stays as drops. Let me see if I can show that to you. Probably not. Let's see. You can sort of see it like that. Now, the next thing you need is a fork, and I did forget the fork, so just one second. Good thing I'm working in the kitchen. Get a fork, and what you're going to do is you're going to take your oil and your color things and stir it up a little bit to get them to move around a little bit and sort of break them up. So that's sort of what we're doing here. Next, we're going to take this and pour it into the water. I'm going to do it not on the screen because I don't think I can do it well. The reason I like the plastic cup is I can bend it and get it to all pour in without having oil all over the place. And I will just tell you, the very last thing as I'm watching it, guess what's the last thing that pours into it? Where's my top? Oh, so here I've got my oil, and watch what starts to happen. You can have your kids start to watch. I'm going to bend it a little. All the drops, all the coloring drops sort of ended on the other side in one place. But it starts to form a flame below. And you can see right here, here's what's happening. The oil is less dense than the water, so it stays on top. The food coloring does not dissolve, but it is heavier than the oil. So it lands a lot of times right here in the middle, and then it is slowly going down and sort of making a flame. And it's sort of fun to watch. I wish that I had had some yellow and red or something. I think the red and the purple were so close together in color that they sort of all blended. But it is sort of cool to start to see. If you can see, there's still a lot of food coloring, and you can see there's another one that just popped down into it. That's making what we could call the flame. So every time one of these food coloring drops falls in, it starts to make more of a flame, and you can see that. So that would be a science experiment that you could do and relate it to the colors. You could choose any colors. You could even choose the colors in the Olympic rings as well. So static electricity, flame, flame in a bottle. The next one is geography. How about finding on the map every time you find a winner or your favorite Olympian? Look at them. Who are the people they're competing against? Find them on the map where those countries are. Next, coloring the flags of country. You can color any of the flags of participants, the winners, the ones that are competing against your country or your favorite one, and make a banner. Now, I have a link in my free activity guide to all the flags, but you could do it this way. This is Ireland flag. It's very simple. If I were having kids do it, I would have them color it completely solid, but I was sort of in a hurry. And it is green, white, and red. On the back, and this is just a piece of paper, I folded it over, and it's Ireland. And then you can take and make a banner of the countries that you are watching right here and hang it in your house. So, or in your room, schoolroom, or whatever. So you can sort of see, you can have, this is a short piece of yarn, but I just took it for demonstration, but you could hang different flags all the way around. And your kids could start to learn the different flags from the countries that are in the Olympics. So that would be another one. Look for them on the map and then start to learn more about the flags as well. And then we have crafts. Now I am still saving the best for last, and that is food. So here is one that I thought was an interesting one. You would basically let your kids cut out the center of a paper plate and you're going to cut a slit like I did right here, and you're going to cut one and let them color. If I were doing this with kids, I would let them paint these, let them dry overnight, and then make it, because kids don't get to paint that much. So we're going to make them, and then once they are dry, we will hang them together. And all you're going to do, so here's the blue, you're just going to take the next one, use the slit, and put it over that so that we're hanging them. Well, I'm having a little hard time. The yellow should be down here. And I just took a piece of tape, wherever the tape is, sorry I don't see it, and taped them together. So that now we've got blue and black and yellow, and we would just need to add the green and the red, and you can make your rings. Like I said, I would use paint. One, it would show up better. Kids love to paint, and we don't give them that many opportunities. Another painting activity you could do, instead of using paper plates, and I'll just go back to my science experiment on the flame. This right here, this little hand holder, that's just the circle, the inner circle of the paper plate, and I just cut 2 little wedges right there and made the flame for our static electricity balloon. The next one to make your rings is you could take a plastic or paper cup, and I'm not going to do it, but dip it in blue and then put it on your paper. Clean it, dip it in red or blue, whatever the colors are, and they can make their own. They would get 1 Olympic ring. The other one I have seen that I just think is beautiful is to take this and get a canvas and let your kids put like several blue colors, and then yellow, and then red, and whatever. And then you've got a whole canvas of circles with the 5 colors of the Olympic rings, which brings me back to another point. That is research. What do each of these colors stand for? I'm not going to tell you. You can go discover that with your children and let them look and find out what the different colors are. After they have done some research, let's have some fun with some food. These are activities that I shared in our activity guide. One are donuts right here, and you can see what these are made out of, pop out of the can, and biscuits. Now I like mine personally, my homemade kinds, or you can make your own gluten-free kind or whatever you want. But I just did that, and then we used frosting and then dipped them in either colored sugar or chocolate sprinkles. And then we made the little Olympic rings. That would be for breakfast. For snack, you could actually make sugar ring cookies. Use your favorite recipe, with or without gluten and dairy or whatever. Use your favorite frosting, whatever works. And then if you want your frosting and you don't want to put sugar on top, just use food coloring and color your frosting, and then you can color it, and they can make the rings for the Olympics. And then this one's really simple but fun, and it's also really good if kids are learning fine motor skills. Just make circle sugar cookies, frost them with vanilla frosting, and then use M&Ms that are the colors of the rings, and just let them put them in the correct places. This would be a fun concluding activity. Now, there are so many activities, and there are more activities in our free activity guide. I have the link there in this description, and I forgot to remind you along the way, please leave a comment and let me know what your favorite game event is in the Summer Olympics. It'd be fun to see what everyone has as well. So today is day 3, I believe. What are you going to be watching this week when it comes to the Olympics? If you have other activities, other ideas on how you can encourage your kids to love learning while they're watching the Olympics, please leave a comment. I would really appreciate it. Well, I'm Carrie Beck with How to Homeschool My Child. Y'all have a great day.